This mutation is called What We Do in the Shadows, and it is being played on Void Thrashing. We have 3 mutators active. We have Darkness, we have Shortsighted, and we have We Move Unseen. Overall, not a really bad set of mutators if you have really good hero units, otherwise you will be required to make some detection. So over here we have Nova and Stetmann who will be doing this mutation set. Now, for Nova, obviously, you have the hero unit who has the detection. Stetmann, Gary does not have detection, but Super Gary does, and if you are playing Stetmann effectively or efficiently, you probably will want to get Super Gary pretty much out as soon as he pops out of his little Gary's room here. So let us have a look at the masteries while the players get set up. We've gone for the airstrike cost reduction, the primary ability improvement, and then 25-5 into Nova energy and unit HP regeneration. 5 points over here is just to provide a little bit of healing for your units as time goes through the mission and you are taking a little bit of chip damage on your units, so that's basically there to deal with that. Additionally, also you have Stetmann Satellite, so you could probably get away with not even going for the unit HP regeneration here. It's not really too big of a deal. For Stetmann, gone for the Gary cooldown, Gary ability cooldown, the stat zone bonuses, and the morph rate. And the structure of morph rate evolution, like mastery here, this one will allow you to just rush up your tech tree so fast, be able to get your Super Gary out very quickly. Now, one thing you can see over here that is of significant importance is the Darkness mutator. Now, what Darkness does is, obviously it does hide various unexplored areas of the map, but the other thing it does hide is the attack wave ping markers. So the little diamond thing that pops up when attack waves spawn, those markers will no longer appear on the map when this mutator is active, so you need to know your attack wave timings, well, not importantly the attack wave timings, but the attack wave spawn points and their positioning and patterns. So on this mission, there are 2 attack wave spawn patterns, and usually a lot of people don't really pay attention to that because this mission is reasonably easy to do, and the other thing as well is that the attack waves gives you more than enough time to deal with them before they start ravaging your base. And you can see already the attack wave has spawned, and we have a 3-minute attack wave, which means we're dealing with pattern A here. So you can see that Gary is already out, Nova already ready, flicks forward and just takes out the first set of adepts with the shotgun. Because we're dealing with the shadow disruption composition here. Nova already building the missile turret just to provide just some emergency detection in the rare case that if there's an attack wave that manages to get through Stetmann's or Gary's hands, tentacles, little gun thing, then at least they have some kind of detection in the base here. But now Nova, you will know, is going to be one basing on this mission. This mission is not going to be lasting very long because these 2 commanders are really well equipped for dealing with this mutation. Now, the one comment that I did get after playing this game with the game was that spreading the Statelites was pretty much impossible because of Darkness. So the Statelites actually interfered with how effectively you could spread your stat zones. That is something to take into consideration if you are playing Stetmann. But the good thing about these satellites is that they provide you with at least a little bit of vision so that you can actually spot these attack wave ping markers and whatnot. Nova, you can see here, just blinking forward. And right now, this is basically just a duo hero unit game. So all that is in production right now for Nova is the attack upgrades for the vehicles and the Nova snipe upgrade as well. That's just going to give her a little bit of a refund. So this is basically going to be very focused on dealing with the hero units to start, and then eventually you will be adding some extra units just to clean up these Void Thrashers as time goes on. You can see over here, Gary, or Super Gary, is already going to be moving through, using his green stat zone to just keep him alive and just start harassing Amon's base. The next wave has spawned. I think this is basically what is up here, and Super Gary with his army of Zerglings now will be going to intercept this next attack wave. And you can see here, this next attack wave is already in position, he's in the range of the stat zone, and one Igor pretty much goes through and almost completely wipes out the entire attack wave in the process. All that is left now is going to get cleaned up by Super Gary. There's one last Stalker, I think, and that is basically it. Nova over here is already getting ready to trigger the next set of Void Thrashers, so we have that, and then we will have also the Griffin Airstrike over here. I'm just going to go and get the mini-map open again. I'm going to switch to Super Gary's view and get that hidden, and that should be pretty much good to go. But yeah, you can see just one airstrike here, the Sabotage Drone giving a little bit of vision and using Nova's Griffin airstrike to just go and clear the rest of these things. In the meanwhile, Super Gary is over here and he's just harassing this base, just weakening and softening this area up, because this will just make it a little bit easier for these commanders to push through towards the final phase of the mission. Now you might say, final phase of the mission, isn't that the third set of Void Thrashers? Shouldn't you be doing that first? And this is the one thing that we did a little bit differently on this mission, is we changed the order that we do the Void Thrashers on. And this is primarily from the standpoint that because you are clearing this mission really quickly, you can see lots of snipes going down onto this Void Thrasher, but because you are clearing this mission really fast, what you can do is you can start pushing into this base next. And because you are pushing into this base, it means that Amon is only sitting at his level 1 attack upgrades. And you can see over here, I think the level 2 attack upgrades come up at maybe, I think the 10-minute mark. But if you're pushing in the early stage of the game, when they're only sitting at level 1 attack upgrades, it does mean that you are dealing with much easier units in this area, because this base is reasonably well fortified, so it does make this mission a little bit faster if you're just slowly aggroing and just pushing through and clearing. And you can see that we have a bunch of infestors that are added for Super Gary, and they are using their tentacle ability on Nova and on Super Gary himself. And what this does is just increases the energy regeneration rate, allowing Nova to pretty much, like, the energy basically just maxes out almost instantly. And especially if you're in the purple stat zone, you're just getting so much energy regeneration that you're pretty much going to end up maxing out completely. And now we have a bunch of Liberators out for Nova. Super Gary is just going to clean up this attack wave, and these Liberators now are going to get ready to deal with these Void Thrashers. And again, upgrades for the Lings, we have the Adrenal Pumps upgrade, and we have a Hardened Energy Shield, which makes them very tanky and allows him to deal a good amount of damage as well. And now Nova is just going to basically clean out the rest of these things. We have a Plasma Blast from the Hybrid Dominator on top of one of these Liberators. The Liberator ends up surviving. And we'll see how quickly it'll end up regenerating its HP, and now these Liberators will end up sieging up onto these Hybrid Dominators and clean up whatever is left here. And just snipes from Nova, just taking out these high priority targets and allowing Super Gary to do his thing, just clean up the rest of his ground units. And all that is left now are a bunch of Void Thrashers, and the Lings are basically going to end up deleting that. And now we have again another bunch of tentacles onto Nova, and on this Nova having a little bit of trouble trying to find targets to snipe. Nova just wants to go here and just clean out the rest of these units. It just snipes right on top of the Dark Templar, the Void Ray, just cleaning up the way for Super Gary, so he doesn't end up taking too much damage on his Lings right now. And these Liberators have pretty much cleared out these sets of Void Thrashers. So at 11 minutes and 20 seconds, you're basically done the hardest base here. So all that is left now is for Nova and Super Gary to clear out this last side. Now there are two options here. Because Nova has not used a nuke, you can use a nuke, but I decided to try and do something a little bit different, just something to try and practice in, and that is the little luring pattern that you can do with Nova over here. So what you do is you take Nova and switch to the blink mode. You blink into a little triangle, and then you drop an airstrike right on top of this enemy units that start to chase you. And you did that reasonably well. That was not very well executed, but what you can do is you can end up cleaning out the rest of these enemy units and trigger the Void Thrashers pretty much instantly. Like, most of the enemy units will end up getting aggroed to Nova. And now we have another bunch of Liberators already ready to deal with this Void Thrasher. This Void Thrasher will end up getting melted very quickly. And now all that is left is to clean up the last two set of Void Thrashers, and these Void Thrashers will end up going down very quickly. Two liberation zones onto each of these things. Lings also drawing a little bit of aggro over here, and that is basically the last Void Thrasher done before the 13-minute mark. There's another attack wave here, but that does not really matter. Those are all the Void Thrashers done, and that is GG.